Amidst the language controversy, Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray leader Sanjay Nirupam supports social media influencer Rajshri More, who was allegedly abused by the son of an MNS leader, while Shiv Sena MP Pratap Jadhav faces criticism for controversial remarks. The BJP fact-finding panel submits its report to President JP Nadda in the Kolkata Law College rape case. Well, first up this evening, AIADMK Chief and leader of the opposition in Tamil Nadu, Edappadi Palaniswamy, is in a combative mood as his yatra entered day 2. He has led the AIADMK to defeat in 3 successive elections, 2019, 21 and 24. But can he turn the tide in 2026? It's a tough challenge ahead, and there are tough questions for EPS to field. Vasudha Venugopal caught up with him along with morning walkers in Coimbator's famous racecourse road. Listen in.
குடும்ப தலைவிக்கு மாதந்தோறும் 1000 உரிமை தொகை கொடுத்தா சொல்றாங்க. எப்ப கொடுத்தாங்க? ஆட்சி பொறுப்பேற்று 28 மாதம் கழிச்சு தான் அவள் அறிவித்த குடும்ப தலைவிக்கு மாதந்தோறும் 1000 உரிமை தொகை கொடுத்தாங்க. அதுவும் பிரதான எதிர்க்கட்சி என்ற முறையில் சட்டமன்றத்தில் பல முறை திமுக கொடுக்கப்பட்ட வாக்குறுதியை ஏன் நிறைவேற்றல? குறிப்பா மாதந்தோறும் குடும்ப தலைவிக்கு 1000 உரிமை தொகை கொடுக்கறேன்னு ஏன் கொடுக்கலன்னு நாங்கள் பல முறை பிரதான எதிர்க்கட்சி என்ற முறையில் சட்டமன்றத்தில் குரல் கொடுத்தோம். எங்களுடைய சட்டமன்ற உறுப்பினரும் கொடுத்தாங்க. அதிமுக பொதுக்கூட்டத்திலையும் இது குறித்து கருத்துக்கள் தெரிவித்தோம். அதனால வேற வழி இல்லாம 28 மாதம் கழிச்சு தான் இந்த உரிமை தொகையை கொடுத்தாங்க. அதே கர்நாடகாவில் காங்கிரஸ் தேர்தல் அறிவிப்பில் கொடுத்தாங்க. அவர்கள் ஆட்சிக்கு வந்து 3 மாசத்துல இந்த மாதிரி குடும்பத்திற்கு அவள் குறிப்பிட்டவாறு நிதி உதவி வழங்கினாங்க. ஆனால் திமுக அப்படி இல்லை. அது மட்டும் இல்லை, அப்ப தகுதியானவர்களுக்கு தான் மாதந்தோறும் 1000 ரூபா குடும்ப தலைவிக்கு உரிமை தொகை கொடுப்பேன்னு சொன்னாங்க. ஆனால் தேர்தல் அப்படி சொல்லல. அனைவருக்கும் மாதந்தோறும் 1000 ரூபாய் உரிமை தொகை கொடுக்கப்படும் குடும்ப தலைவிக்குன்னு சொன்னாங்க. இப்போ அதெல்லாம் என்ன காரணம்? மக்களிடத்தில் செல்வாக்கு இழந்துட்டது திமுக அரசாங்கம். அதை சரி செய்ய 2026 வருகின்ற சட்டமன்ற தேர்தலில் எப்படியா தில்லுமுள்ளு செய்யும் மக்களை ஏமாற்றி அவர்களுடைய வகைகளை பெற்று ஆட்சிக்கு வர வேண்டும் என்ற எண்ணத்தின் அடிப்படையில் இப்போ ஏற்கனவே அவர்கள் விதிக்கப்பட்ட உரிமை தொகை வாங்குவதற்கு விதிக்கப்பட்ட அந்த விதிகளை தளர்த்தி மேலும் 30 லட்சம் பேருக்கு குடும்ப தலைவிகளுக்கு மாதந்தோறும் 1000 ரூபாய் கொடுப்பதாக பத்திரிகை செய்தி வெளியிடப்பட்டிருக்கு.
ஆனா திமுக என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, தமிழுக்காக ஃபைட் பண்ற ஒரே பார்ட்டி அவங்க தான் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க சார். அதுக்கு எப்படி ரெஸ்பான்ஸ்?
என்ன தமிழுக்காக ஃபைட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க?
அவங்க 3 லாங்குவேஜ் பாலிசி
எங்க 3 லாங்குவேஜ் எங்க பண்ணிருக்காங்க? ஏற்கனவே மத்தியில காங்கிரஸ் ஆட்சி இருக்கின்ற பொழுதுதான் இந்த மொழி பிரச்சனையே வந்தது. அதனாலதான் தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கு இந்தி கொண்டு வருவதற்கு முயற்சி செஞ்சாங்க. அதை எதிர்த்து போராடியது அன்றைக்கு இருக்கின்ற திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகம் என்ற ஒன்றாக இருந்தது. அன்னைக்கு பிரியல எம்ஜிஆர் அவர்கள், அப்பொழுது பேர் அண்ணா அவர்கள் இருந்தார்கள். அவை இந்திய எதிர்ப்பு போராட்டத்திலாம் கடுமையா தமிழகத்தில் அனைத்து தரப்பு ஒன்றாக இணைத்து எதிர்ப்பு குரல் கொடுத்தாங்க. அப்ப மத்தியில் காங்கிரஸ் ஆட்சி தான் இருந்தது. அவர்களை கொண்டு வந்து தான் இவ்வளவு பிரச்சனைக்கு காரணமே. அவளோட தானே கூட்டு சேர்ந்திருக்கிறாங்க.
ஏதாவது ஒரு ட்ரையாங்குலர் கான்டெஸ்ட் மாதிரி எதிர்பார்க்கறீங்களா? என்ன ப்ராஸ்பெக்ட்ஸ் இருக்கும்? விஜய் அது மாதிரி சொல்லுங்க. விஜயோட என்ன ப்ராஸ்பெக்ட்ஸ் இருக்கும்? ட்ரையாங்குலர் கான்டெஸ்ட் இருக்குமா?
ஏங்க, இந்தியா மிகப்பெரிய ஜனநாயக நாடு. ஜனநாயக நாட்டில் யார் வேணாலும் கட்சி ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். அதுல போய் மற்றவர்கள் கட்சி ஆரம்பிக்கிறத பற்றி எங்கிட்ட கேள்வி கேட்டா நான் என்ன பதில் சொல்ல முடியும்? சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம். அது அவருடைய விருப்பம். மக்களுக்கு சேவை செய்ய வேண்டும் என்ற எண்ணத்தின் அடிப்படையில் ஒரு கட்சி அவர் தொடங்கி இருக்கிறார். இதுல அவருடைய கருத்துக்கள் தான் நீங்க கேட்கணும். ஏன்னா இப்பதான் அவர் வந்து கட்சியை துவங்கி சில கூட்டங்களில் பேசிட்டு வர்றாரு. எதிர்காலத்தில் அவர் எப்படி அரசியல் செய்வார் என்பதையெல்லாம் கவனித்து தான் பதில் சொல்லணும்.
கூட்டணி பெருசாகுமா சார் உங்களோட கூட்டணி?
ஆனா ஏற்கனவே நான் தெளிவா சொல்லிட்டேன். தேர்தலுக்கு சட்டமன்ற தேர்தலுக்கு 8 மாத காலம் இருக்குது. இந்த 8 மாத காலத்துக்குள் அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழக தலைமையில் அமைக்கப்பட்ட கூட்டணியில் இன்னும் சில கட்சிகள் இணைய உள்ளன.
Well, EPS, trust me, has his task cut out there. Multiple challenges that he faces in the road ahead. The DMK has already launched a sharp attack on him. Vasudha joins me live as well. Vasudha, the key question before EPS is if all his allies, including the BJP, categorically reassert that he is the undisputed CM face and leader of the alliance. Do you see the BJP going out of its way and ensuring that?
That's right, Vida. Edappadi Palaniswamy's yatra that he launched yesterday, Makkalai Kappom, Tamilagathai Meepom, has given an opportunity to all these parties to think and rethink their alignment. The question that you asked, yes, of course, optics-wise, it looks like a comfortable marriage. It doesn't look like a very comfortable marriage, but it doesn't look like a forced marriage as well for the BJP and for the AIADMK. When I spoke to EPS in the morning, he was very clear that it is an Anathimuka Kutani. He's ensuring that AIADMK gets that sense of prominence. For the BJP, it is also important to flex its muscles. It's a national party. It's at the center. So it also wants to ensure that it gets the relevance that it wants. And it has already made those compromises in terms of, giving up on Annamalai as a state president. So it does not really want to be seen as a pushover. So if you look at the optics of the yatra that happened yesterday, there were separate hoardings of all BJP leaders and then another hoarding of all the AIADMK leaders. But the face that Edappadi Palaniswamy also put out had SP Velumani, who's also a strong leader from Tamil Nadu of the AIADMK. It also had Naina Nagendran, BJP president of Tamil Nadu, and also L. Murugan, who's a union minister. So he also wanted to put out this sense of united opposition against DMK, which is why I think he's also not really taking pot shots at Vijay's party or Vijay. And he's saying that, at least in that interview that he gave us in the morning, he's very clear that everybody has the right to do whatever they want if they want to serve people, and he wants like-minded parties to come along with him. But he's clear that it is an Anathimuka Bajaka Kutani, and which means an AIADMK BJP coalition, and the expansion of the alliance in Tamil Nadu will only happen under the leadership of AIADMK. And the BJP leaders that I spoke with, at least the state leaders, are also now convinced that it is going to be under EPS that the fight is going to take place. But of course, what happens after that is something that will be decided by the leadership of both parties, is what they are saying. But EPS, of course, is very clear that he has strongly ensconced himself as not just the leader of AIADMK, something that was not the truth, during his tenure as the chief minister, because he's fighting with OPS. But now he's not just the leader of AIADMK, but also the leader of the Kutani that he's saying will expand in the coming 8 months.
Yes, leader of the alliance, that's the key word, leader of the Kutani, as they say in Tamil Nadu. As you say that, Vasudha, and as you pointed out, you put that question to state BJP's General Secretary Muruganandam as well. Just listen in.
Well, Tamil Nadu is preparing for a very crucial election year. Joining me is the State General Secretary of the BJP, AP Muruganandam. Thank you, Mr. Muruganandam, for speaking to NDTV. My first question to you. Yesterday, Edappadi Palaniswamy of the AIADMK launched his yatra, Makkalai Kappom, Tamilagathai Meepom. How do you look at the prospects of this yatra? Yesterday, we saw Naina Nagendran, L. Murugan, BJP leaders present. You were also present there. Would the BJP be an important part of this yatra?
Of course, this is a fantastic alliance, we would say. Our core aim is to make the DMK alliance, so-called the ND alliance, out of Tamil Nadu especially. It's a different mindset in Kerala, and when it comes to Delhi, it's a different mindset with them. So their core base is only here in Tamil Nadu, where they're sticking together, especially this Indi alliance. So we feel that, we strongly believe that this time we will break Indi alliances into pieces. So our alliance especially is a stronger one. Yes, yesterday we could witness people of Tamil Nadu are really in a mood that they are with the NDA alliance, especially Edappadi Palaniswamy, who is taking the lead. He is the big brother for us. So we hope, and yesterday we could witness a huge crowd has turned out. So it's a very positive sign for us.
So the BJP is completely on board when it comes to EPS's leadership even after elections, because there's a lot of speculation over Kutani Sarkar Irkumalata, is it going to be a AIADMK government, or what would be the BJP's view on this?
Generally, DMK wants ADMK leaders or the BJP leaders putting words in their mouths. So we are very firm that this alliance is working very well, and the other things, all our central leadership and the ADMK leadership, they will take a call.
When you say that more people are likely to be part of the larger NDA alliance in Tamil Nadu, does that also include Vijay's TVK party? Because TVK has said that BJP is the ideological opponent.
Because as I said, our prime aim is to make DMK out of Tamil Nadu. I think this is the last election. And we are still keeping our hearts open. We feel that the common enemy is DMK and their regime. That should be out of Tamil Nadu. So anything is possible.
DMK keeps saying that the BJP, especially BJP, is completely against the interest of Tamil people. It's been raising these issues of delimitation, GST, the dues, and also, most importantly, the language issue. Don't you think some of this may actually, damage your prospects?
I can send you more. I can send you n number of data regarding the Tamil issues, the way our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is taking the Tamil culture, the Tamil pride, not only in India, throughout the world, wherever he goes. So he keeps praising Tamil and Tamil people everywhere. So he said in his own interview that Tamil is the oldest language, and it is the mother of all languages. So you cannot say, the DMK guys, what they've been saying, it is all because of the election stunts. So that's the only thing I can say.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Muruganandam. AP Muruganandam, State General Secretary of the BJP, saying that anything is possible when it comes to alliances that are shaping up. He's also completely on board with Edappadi Palaniswamy's statement that the NDA alliance in Tamil Nadu is all set to grow. And with respect to DMK's statements, he's saying that the DMK is just propelling lies when it comes to its stakes in protecting Tamil pride and culture. With camera person Pujaria, this is Vasudha Venugopal for NDTV.
Right. Vasudha, anything's possible in Tamil politics, anywhere in the country. But the BJP is an insignificant player in Tamil Nadu. The TVK is possibly the more potential possible ally for the AIADMK. But that's not possible in a BJP alliance. Do you see, from what you're picking up off the record from your sources, any realignment between the BJP and the AIADMK, or is it now a certainty that TN 2026 is going to be a three-way fight?
Well, that's right, Veera. I think everybody wants to know what Vijay's actual capabilities are going to be. And that is one thing that in the last 2 days I've heard a number of times, especially from youngsters who are very clear in saying that we want options now. We are in some ways tired of the existing options. And this has come in Kongunadu, in Coimbatore, where I was expecting, AIADMK to be the most popular party. It still, has a lot of talk and chatter, but there is also a lot of curiosity over Vijay. It remains to be seen if his popularity gets translated into electoral impact. Remember that TVK is a wild card entry. He's the star contender this time. But other than that, I think like I said, EPS is also very clear that he does not want to criticize him. And TVK has made it very clear that Vijay's ideological opponent is the BJP and his political opponent is the DMK. So as long as the BJP and AIADMK are together, it looks a little difficult for Vijay to be part of that alliance, and that is something that would be making the DMK also happy, because that also, in some ways ensures that the anti-incumbency vote gets split. But then 8 months to go for polls, anything can happen. Like the BJP leader that I spoke with in the morning said very clearly, anything is possible, madam. And like EPS said, 8 months to go for alliance, long time for the winds to change direction.
Slapgate thugs were the foot soldiers of the MNS's hypocrisy. Rahil Sheikh is the unfiltered poster boy. NDTV forces police action. Big NDTV coverage impact live.
This entire war of political fiasco has turned into a question of identity.
They had said that North Indians should not stay over here.
मुझे ये समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है कि इनको करना क्या है.
MNS thugs bundled into buses. Thakre's thugs in escalation mode.
The M&S Slapgate incident, the M&S rally was in response to that.
There was no permission given by Meera Road police.
अगर पुलिस की हिम्मत रहेगी तो पुलिस प्रताप सरनाई को गिरफ्तार करके दिखाए.
Shameless, remorseless, soulless. Will Raj Thakre keep instigating? Mumbai goons, your time is up. NDTV live amidst the MNS meltdown.
Finessa windows, beautiful and durable designs. Installation से maintenance की lifelong customer service. आपके घर में Finesta नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए.
Fine, finer Finesta.
That's huge. That is a biggie. It's out there.
Gold Plus Clear Glass. Far हो या near, सब कुछ दिखे clear.
But I'd like to start this off by asking you, Vishnu, what you think about the whole question of India not having stealth fighters right now.
It's a huge
Everyone's
problem.
trying to sell them to us as well.
It's a huge problem, Shiv. Let's face it, in as much as we love the Rafale aircraft and the Indian Air Force is completely vouching for it, perhaps they'd like more than 100 more. The Indian Navy has just gotten into an order for 26 Rafale M aircraft. There is a generation gap between the Rafale and the stealth. There is a good reason why a stealth platform is called a 5th generation aircraft and a Rafale is a 4th or 4.5 generation aircraft, and that is low observability. So in as much as the Rafale has brilliant sensors, both in terms of its radar, its defensive suite, its electronic warfare suite, its towed array decoy system, it is not typically a low observability platform in quite the same manner in which a stealth aircraft is. Its design form is different. And therefore, if Pakistan does have low observable aircraft, which would be the J-35, in fact, the first ones might even start entering service or coming into the PAF ahead of entering service at some time this year, then India is in trouble.
So
Why?
this year? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first could actually start coming in this year. They're really pushing for it. And they've gotten apparently into some agreement with the Chinese to ensure that the funding is done on very loose and terms favorable to Pakistan, as has been in the case in the past. If Pakistan starts acquiring low platforms which are low observable, in other words, stealth platforms, then that's an additional headache for the Indian Air Force, because tracking stealth aircraft requires a certain specialization. It's much more difficult. The time that you have to actually engage a potential stealth target is reduced greatly, and therefore, it's a problem.
जनता के पास सवाल ही सवाल है, जवाब ढूंढने को वो देखती है न्यूज़ और देखती है यहाँ तो सवालों का मायाजाल है। ऊपर से ये अलग फाइट है, कोई पूरा लेफ्ट तो कोई पूरा राइट है, बीच में मुद्दे के साथ कौन है, जनता को जवाब चाहिए। इसीलिए सवालों की परेड नहीं, मैं लाऊंगा खबरों की कचहरी। मैं शुभांकर मिश्रा, मेरे साथ देखिए कचहरी रात 8 बजे सिर्फ एनडीटीवी इंडिया पर।
If it matters to you, 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 it matters to India, it matters to India, it matters to India, it matters to India, and it matters to me, and it matters.
Welcome back. You're with the Southern View now to that horrific accident in Cuddalore district of Tamil Nadu early this morning, when a school van carrying several children off to school early in the morning tried cutting past a railway track and was rammed in by a train, resulting in the death of 3 school children. Many other children in that bus were also injured. According to authorities, the school van, in a hurry to get the kids to school, forced the railway gatekeeper to let it pass through just as he was closing the gate. This was when the Virupuram Mailadurai passenger train was passing by at that railway crossing and hit the bus, leading to the accident. It was a manned level crossing, an unfortunate incident, a very rare such case these days, but extremely tragic there from Cuddalore. My colleague Sam Daniel has the details.
3 school children were killed after the school van they were travelling in rammed into a moving train in the Cuddalore district of Tamil Nadu. This happened after the van attempted to cross a manned level crossing. Railway investigation reveals that though the gatekeeper had tried to close the gate, the van driver had allegedly insisted to let him go. Another student suffered injuries critically. Railway authorities say they've booked a case of negligence. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin and Railways have separately announced a relief of 5 lakh rupees, besides a 2 lakh relief for those severely injured. This certainly raises several questions in terms of safety at manned and unmanned level crossings, besides compliance on the part of the school vehicle. In Chennai, with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find TV.
Well, now to breaking news that's coming in from Andhra Pradesh in that enormous face-off between the TDP MLA in Nellore district and the former YSRCP MLA, TDP MLA Prashanthi Reddy has filed a complaint against Prasanna Kumar, the former YSRCP MLA, for abusive language that was used against her. Remember, it was a fierce exchange there in Nellore district after the TDP's woman MLA Prashanthi Reddy was allegedly spoken to in a very derogatory and abusive language by former YSRCP MLA there. Uma Sudhir, my colleague, who has been tracking all those details there in Andhra Pradesh, remember, gives us an overview of the ugly, bitter exchange, fierce exchange in Andhra politics. Listen in.
So political tensions and sharp exchanges between the leaders and cadre of the YSRCP and the Telugu Desam is nothing new in Andhra Pradesh, but things really boiled over in Nellore district yesterday, where we saw 6-time MLA YSRCP leader Nallappa Reddy, Prasanna Reddy making very derogatory, offensive remarks about the sitting Kovur MLA who belongs to the TDP and who had defeated him in last elections. He made certain crude insinuations about her marriage to Nellore MP Vemireddy Prabhakar Reddy and said that she had in fact not only blackmailed but threatened him into the marriage, and even insinuated that the life of the Nellore MP was at threat, and he said that that's because he has thousands of crores of assets, and he said at home or outside he could get eliminated. All this has sparked a huge outrage in Andhra Pradesh, where from ministers, whether it's Nara Lokesh or the Home Minister Anita, all of them condemned this kind of a language being used against an elected woman representative at that. And Nara Lokesh in fact said that this is not just disgusting and something very disgraceful and insulting as well. And he said that seems to be the culture of the YSRCP. Anita, who is the Home Minister, also said that YSRCP Jagan Mohan Reddy in fact needs to make this YSRCP leader apologize, retract his statement, and maybe the leader should even be suspended to set an example. And while all this was happening, last night in fact there was about unidentified miscreants, about 40 of them came to the home of the YSRCP leader in Nellore town itself. We're talking about Nallappa Reddy, Prasanna's residence in Nellore, where all the furniture was ransacked, the vehicles were turned upside down. His mother was home at that time, the MLA was not at home at that time. These people are still being described as unidentified, but we had former Minister Anil Kumar Yadav and MLC Chandrasekhar come and say that this was a retaliatory attack from the side of the TDP, and they said that they are not going to shy away from retaliating either. This entire episode, of course, once again highlights the kind of very sharp, politically polarized atmosphere in Andhra Pradesh. And tomorrow as well, we are going to see YSRCP leader Jagan Mohan Reddy going to Chittoor district, where he is going to meet with the mango farmers who are in distress, and with restrictions once again on the numbers that are allowed for him as well. Perhaps things are not going to be so calm in Andhra Pradesh.
As I mentioned a short while ago, we just broke that story that the TDP MLA has decided to file a police complaint and is demanding the arrest of that former YSRCP MLA in that confrontation, which is likely to intensify there. But now to the dangers of speeding on the roads and turning roads into racetracks. This is a gruesome, horrific accident in Mysore which was caught on camera. A superbike, a Suzuki Hayabusa, there, hitting into a Zomato driver on his bike, spinning out and the bike bursting into flames. Unfortunately, both the delivery man as well as the bike rider of that superbike are no more. That kind of an accident raises serious questions of safety and whether superbikes and supercars, which can do enormous speeds on the roads, are being driven carefully, whether road rules are being followed. One more in a long list of road accidents, but of course being caught on camera there brings this into attention and brings the focus on such accidents. Scary images there on your screen of that superbike just tossing in and bursting into flames. But that's not the only issue on the roads, is it? Each day we find different issues on the roads, and today the focus here on the Southern View are issues of road rage, which have been growing in Bengaluru like perhaps in all other cities. Often small exchanges on roads have turned into ugly violent fights, even leading to death or grievous injuries. Several of these have been reported on videos, have gone viral, but it continues to be a nightmare on the roads. The latest in a series of such incidents is a case of an MUV driver threatening a cab driver with a machete in Bengaluru, and that led to those in the area taking on the MUV driver and breaking his vehicle. Those are the images on your screens. Joining me this evening, journalist from the Hindu, KC Deepika, who herself was a victim of road rage and has filed a police complaint. I also have Shirley George, noted biker, joining me from Bengaluru, and also road safety expert Anurag Kulshetra from New Delhi. Thanks to all three of you for joining us here. KC Deepika, first to you, as someone who was a quote-unquote victim of a road rage incident, just very briefly narrate to us the incident that you went through, as well as how the response is from the authorities when you met them. Obviously, being a journalist, you would have the advantage in reaching out to the authorities.
So I thought, Veera, but the incident occurred on July 2nd on my way back home. I was riding on this one-way road called New Tipsandra in East Bengaluru, and there was a car driver who was training me throughout. He was not happy that I had overtaken him, and near the post office, he's blocked me, got out from his car and snatched my scooter key. And what followed since then has been a very harrowing experience. It was the 112 distress number did not work for me either. Like you said, I had to use the influence of my crime reporter to get through to the distress number. My husband had to call the landline of the police station in the jurisdictional Bhimanagar police station. And then I think a good 40 minutes after the incident and after the car driver had escaped, two police patrol personnel came, inquired as to what happened, took down my details, just said go to the station and left. They didn't bother asking me if I can go home, if I'm in a position, if I'm in shock. I was in tears, but they didn't seem to care. To get the FIR registered, it took another 2 days and the intervention of the police commissioner, because initially they filed an NCR, which basically doesn't really guarantee anything. And to this date, 6th of July is when the FIR was filed, and to this date, there is not really any development as far as this case is concerned.
So you're saying, Deepika, you're saying that it was a simple act of overtaking somebody that resulted in somebody chasing you up and stopping you on the middle of the road. It was a simple act of overtaking.
Absolutely, which was a shocker to me too, because as someone who's born and brought up here, and I've been riding for a very long time. I've been riding for a good 20 years since I was in college, and I've never really had an issue as bad as this one, where someone actually snatches your scooter key like a cop would 10 years ago.
Right. Right. As you say that, Shirley, this is really the case on the roads, isn't it? One doesn't need a long trigger or actually even a crash to turn into a fight. It's small instances that's possibly because of pent-up frustration on the roads. And I'm seeing all sides of the story here. There is some kind of might is right attitude and a sense of frustration on the roads, and that's what bursts into incidents of this nature.
Absolutely. I see it on a daily basis. Almost every morning I'm stuck in a traffic jam which is lasts about 30 minutes, and every single day it's in a bottleneck, and it has a very big turn where the buses find it extremely difficult to turn, and the van guys and the scooter guys and the car guys get into a fight every single day. And this is Bengaluru for you. And I now don't just think that it is just frustration, it's frustration that they have to get to work on time. And I think things were way better when it was work from home.
When you say that, Shirley, very, in a sense, what's the message one can send out? There are those with extreme levels of frustration on the road. There are those who may not want to get into an instance of this nature but get provoked or dragged into it. What's the message we tell the people on the roads right now?
No matter what message you're going to take across to people, it's a large section of the population that have moved to Bangalore to work. And that's their livelihood, and then they're so frustrated in the whole process of getting to work or getting someone else to work, because the cab guys are trying to get somebody else to work. And it's just those peak hours. Either we have some sort of a system where we have the time of working, slightly changed, and the mindset of people that they cannot take law into their own hands. So what we see is a case of frustration, and we do completely understand that the police force can do only this much, and they can't be present everywhere all the time. They're not omnipresent. So if there is no one to support you, and even if you take a complaint to them, the issue is they are bogged with this many complaints in a day. And there are worse instances. Do they handle accidents or do they handle these cases? And so it's just a knowledge that the public need, and the understanding that, or we have to start taking, you get a driver's license and then you have to go through this course where you also sign other things, where your emotional quotient is also checked.
Oh, important point that you make there. Anurag Kushestra, when it comes to a city like Bengaluru, it's often lots softer, firmly much softer than, let's say, a city like Delhi. Because when somebody moves into Delhi, the first thing they're advised is never get into an argument on the road. You might even end up losing your life. Fortunately, so far in Bengaluru, it hasn't come down to that. What's the solution? I mean, how do we make people understand that road incidents or even accidents can happen? There is no need to get down and be angry and get physical or be rude to the other.
Yeah, well, Veera, I'll start from one point, like in case of Delhi or any other cities. Almost 90% of the vehicles who are older than 5 or 6 months, they are hitted or dented. This is the severity of the issue. And the denting on the vehicle or the personal belongings can trigger anyone to any height, depending upon the nature of the different people. Second thing I'm coming to you, like I think Sherry has discussed about the bottlenecks and unnecessary delay and the traffic showers in the cities. This is a common situation, everyone. It's a matter of the traffic management, proper traffic management. If you'll see in every city, if it's a three-lane road, then traffic is moving in 5-lane or 6-lane. The same situation is happening at the crossings.
Right.
Because on the crossings, traffic is standing in 5-lane, 6-lane instead of 3 lanes. So it's a matter of the traffic management and poor enforcement. And before that, because we are having the very much poor infrastructure, if lane driving is not fixed in any of the city, it will happen, because unfortunately it's not happening in India. And second thing, channelization of the traffic for every type of road users. Like if you'll see on any crossings or near the bus stops or the taxi stops or this e-rickshaw stands or auto rickshaw stands, they are covering almost half of the road network on every crossings, almost, where the interchanging zone is there.
Right.
It's a matter of the traffic management. And before that, if it is channelized by our civic agencies, okay, this 30% area reserved for the auto rickshaws, make it channelized through the maybe the dividers or maybe the cones or chains, and then there must be a separation in between the running traffic and the halting traffic. It because
Right.
when
No,
whenever
you're making a very important point there. You're pointing to multiple flaws on the roads. Deepika, as a journalist, as somebody who observes the city very closely for many years, what's the sense you're picking up? Is this a result of pent-up frustration, or do you believe that there is just a sense that, look, I can get away with anything on the road? What do you expect from the authorities, and what do you expect from the system to set this right, to make sure that nobody else, or at least try to make sure that nobody else suffers from incidents of this nature?
Veera, I would say it's a bit of both. Bengaluru is clearly now handling the traffic that its roads clearly can't handle. And the authorities, government after government, they focused on providing for this increasing number of vehicles rather than probably strengthening public transport, for instance. Someone like me, who is from the city, I don't mind taking buses, I don't mind taking metro, but the metro shuts down at 12:30. Beyond 9 p.m., there are no buses. So what do then? You're either dependent on cabs, whether they're going to take you or not, autos, or your own vehicle. So there's no planning in terms of the mobility in the city. That is one. Even now, the Congress government is looking at introducing tunnel roads to cater to home to private vehicles. And a lot of experts, the city has its share of experts, scientists, in IISc, for instance, very active citizenry. We've been demanding that you need to strengthen public transport and decrease the number of vehicles before you could move on to looking at how to manage the existing number of private vehicles. That is simply not happening. The second point that you mentioned is basically that road rage, any traffic violation, apart from paying a fine, there's nothing being done. There were rowdy sheets being opened under the previous commissioner's direction, which I'm not really sure if it's happening anymore. But they're not really looking at why road rage instances are happening. Like in my case, the road that I was traveling on it's one of the first one-ways introduced in the city, but one way is never followed. There's traffic from both ways.
Right.
So everyone's frustrated because you're trying to deal with a one way that is not a one way. So I feel like this is a much larger issue.
Oh, absolutely. There are multiple dimensions to this issue, but I think the bottom line, at least from my point of view as a road user, is the sheer fact that one can get out and get angry on the road, and it's okay. I think the first and fundamental rule is that you can't get angry on the road, and as Shirley pointed out, perhaps emotional anger management lessons when you're getting a driving license is absolutely essential. The slightest of anger is unacceptable on the roads should be a message that's sent across. But thanks to all three of you for joining me here on perhaps a daily navigation issue for most people across the country. But now to all the latest from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Brazil visit for the two-day BRICS summit, the first by an Indian Prime Minister to Brazil in nearly 6 decades. Prime Minister Modi there will be meeting with Brazilian President Lula there, and my colleague Mohammed Ghazali joins me live. Ghazali, take us through the latest that's coming in from Rio.
See, this is a very significant visit by the Prime Minister to Brazil, also because of the fact that it is one of the largest countries in the Latin American region and offers investment opportunities for India. Besides that, India and Brazil are part of multiple global alliances like G20. India has been with Brazil in International Solar Biofuel Alliance as well. And both these countries, and also Brazil happens to be the supplier for critical minerals for us, hydrocarbon, oil as well. So India, through this trip, is signifying that India is also diversifying its partners when it comes to supplies from the West or from the Middle East. So in that respect, this visit is very significant. Also in the backdrop of the BRICS summit, where Prime Minister Modi and President Lula, both of them voiced a strong opinion when it comes to multiple issues, whether it is terrorism, whether it is a kind of discrimination against the global South countries, something which both the leaders resonate about. So we are going to see a lot of commonalities between the two countries and lot of announcement. One major sector where we can expect a lot of MOUs is going to be the defense, space and energy sector, because Brazil is looking after the Operation Sindoor. It has shown that how India has got some defense industry here, defense products here, and Brazil is also eyeing for those collaboration between India and Brazil, where India would be supplying those defense equipments to Brazil.
Right, Lula da Silva, though, making strong points there on Trump as well there, Ghazali, in terms of trade tariffs and the way the US has been moving forward. That would be a key area of concern in terms of the optics, not just in terms of the optics, but in terms of the substance that's coming out of this meeting.
Yeah, certainly. We'll have to see the language of the joint statement between the two leaders, because when it came to Pahalgam terror attack, when it came to attack on Iranian nuclear sites by Israel or situation in Gaza, the joint statement from the BRICS certainly named these countries. But when it came to Pahalgam terror attack, Pakistan was not named. Now, these are certain issues where India and Brazil are on the same page. And perhaps after this, as you rightly pointed out, that what most of the global South countries have said, that it's a terror of tariff, or tariff is being used as weapon, or trade is being weaponized by United States. So we could see some strong comments against that as well, because we know that Mr. Trump has also issued such letter to multiple countries in the last few hours.
Right, important point that you make there, Ghazali. That would be the key focus, that joint statement, what comes out of it, the tonality of it and the substance of it. Very clearly, given the kind of statements that one has heard from Lula da Silva over the last 24 hours, that would be interesting to watch, and Ghazali will bring us the latest when that comes through. Thanks very much there, Mohammad Ghazali. Now to a quick check of the never-ending Karnataka political soap opera. The Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister are in Delhi for a series of official meetings with the union government. Politics, though, can't be kept aside. There has been speculation of a national role for Siddaramaiah, but would that mean a change of guard in the state? That's anybody's guess. Remember, Siddaramaiah had reiterated categorically that he will serve the full term as Chief Minister, and DK Shivkumar seemingly indicated that he had no choice but to fall in line. But is that the last word? Well, there may never be one as far as politics is concerned. Listen in to the several voices from Karnataka today, including Party General Secretary Randeep Singh Surjewala.
ಹೌದ್ರಿ, ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಿನಿಂದ ಅವರು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಡಿ ಕೆ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಮಗೇನು ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಭಿನ್ನವಾದಂಥ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಜನಾಭಿಪ್ರಾಯನೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಶಾಸಕರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
No bar on my Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister from travelling to Delhi last when I checked. There is no injunction or stay. So for government work and for pleading our case before Government of India, they often travel to Delhi. And they should be travelling and trying to persuade with all our might the Government of India to not discriminate against and not give stepmotherly people to people of treatment to people of Karnataka. And that's what they are doing. It is their duty, and they are doing their duty.
Sunil Prabhu, who's tracked the Congress for years now very closely, joins me live. Sunil, what's the sense you're picking up from Delhi? Siddaramaiah has categorically declared that he's going to be Chief Minister for 5 years. DK Shivkumar has said, what choice do I have? Is there a change in the offing, or is the status quo going to continue?
Well, that exercise was done by the Congress High Command, and you heard Randeep himself making it clear that there is no change as of now, because they were able to, check and get the numbers right in terms of the MLAs and where they stand. But having said that, it's also time for course correction. There are a number of mistakes that the Congress is making in Karnataka, and it's a good time for them to review that situation, not only keep going with the begging bowl to the center for funds and to ensure that Karnataka gets its due, even though it is an opposition state. It should not be discriminated at, but also to ensure that both DK Shivkumar as well as Mr. Siddaramaiah and the various other factions in the Congress party in Karnataka work together to meet the aspirations of the people and try to ensure that they are able to revive what is really looking like a sinking ship, with things going from bad to worse in the state.
Right, Sunil, as you say that very briefly, is there a sense that there will be some kind of very stern, strong message? Because one of the problems has been loose comments made by MLAs either on this side or the other. While there are issues, will there be a categorical state message or something deep down that's done to ensure that those public statements are avoided in the days to come?
They've tried it a number of times. It's difficult because all their loyalties are very clearly with their leaders, and the leaders themselves are very keen to get that top post, be it DK Shivkumar or Mr. Siddaramaiah on their part. So definitely it's going to be difficult. What the real issue is to see whether they can have better representation, to work as a united force, and more importantly, to be able to deliver to the people's expectations and ensure a corruption-free government there, and to get things properly done. I think that's the most critical aspect, and I think that's uppermost in the Congress leadership's mind, that they, be it Karnataka or any other state, they must deliver on the promises and keep the house in order.
That's right, the optics of good governance. Thanks very much there, Sunil Prabhu, there on the latest. Now to BR MLC K. Kavita. She's fighting a tough battle within her party, but she was in Delhi trying to take her party's OBC politics to the national capital. Will she cut eyes there? She spoke with NDTV's Aishwarya Jain. Listen in.
K. Kavita is with me. Ma'am, you have come all the way to Delhi. You said that you have travelled thousands of kilometres to address an important issue. But this issue has been going for so long. How far your fight will go, and what steps are you going to take to ensure that the promise made by the government will come down to justice?
See, India as a nation is moving towards giving more equitable opportunities to every section of the society. OBC society is one such society which did not get its due share in politics or jobs or education. So as a state in Telangana, in these elections, Rahul Gandhi ji had promised that an equitable share will be given to the OBC. So in the last 2 years, we were fighting to make sure that the 42% OBC Arakshan that was announced should become a reality. Now that we passed the bill in both Assembly and Council with the support of BRS and all other parties, bill has now reached to the Union government. So it is at Honorable Rashtrapati ji, and we are hoping she'll give an assent to it and include it in Schedule 9 so that this 42% reservation for OBCs of Telangana will be secured. And if Rahul Gandhi ji is really serious about empowering the OBCs as he claims to be, he should immediately call up his Chief Minister, Mr. Revant Reddy, and ask him to just issue a government order, because Article 243D of the Constitution gives us that provision that the local body reservation can be decided by the state government. And now that this bill is passed, there is another alternate track running in which Bharatiya Janata Party can come forward and show its love and promise of empowering the OBCs in Telangana. They can give the assent to the president, or Congress can give the GO. So to make sure we force these two national parties to act in the interest of Telangana OBCs, we've announced Rail Roko on July 17th, and that is why we are here in Delhi, travelled so far to come here to tell both of these national parties that this issue is serious and important and urgent, because local body elections have to be done before September 30th.
Well, from politics now to beautiful, big and bizarre, anything but boring fashion's most decorated week begins in the French capital. Paris Couture Week, which celebrates the best of fashion design, has kicked off with Indian designer Rahul Mishra once again making jaw-dropping pieces.
Regarded as the highest platform for fashion, Paris Haute Couture is the most prestigious fashion week in the world. But what is couture anyway? A process of making a garment where the machine doesn't even touch the fabric, meaning it's all made by hand. The most creative and artistic expression through the medium of clothes and accessories, where the body literally becomes a canvas. To us mortal beings, questions like who's going to wear it or how much is it priced at falls flat. And every year a handful of designers and fashion houses exhibit their work in the fashion capital of the world, Paris, thus known as the Paris Haute Couture Week. This year, fashion house Schiaparelli opened the Couture Week with a star-packed front row, Cardi B in an arch-shaped fringe dress and a live crow. Dua Lipa looking ethereal in a gown made of glycerine strips. The model slowly displaying the most extravagant and elegant pieces of a reverse bejeweled beating human heart left and stunned. Dutch fashion designer Van Harpen presented a line of holographic garments as if they were living and breathing. Our very own Rahul Mishra got inspired by love, Sufism and painter Gustav Klimt paintings. Sculptural gold and floral pieces glided down the runway. Bollywood actor and former model Lisa Hayden stole the show in an off-shoulder shimmery sheer piece. Rapper Cardi B missed the fashion show but turned up late in a red floral ensemble from the collection, drawing attention to Mishra's impeccable craft of storytelling. Over the next 4 days, nearly 70 presentations will take place, displaying an extravaganza of high fashion, which will be accessible to only a lucky few in the world, making it super exclusive and extremely desirable. Mayank Chaudhary for NDTV.
From all that fashion, and finally now to two powerful images of the day. On the one side, a daring journey by tribal men and women risking their lives to cross the Godavari River. On the other, a daring rescue of an enormous serpent by a forest officer. The first one is from Vetamandi village in Alluri, Sitaramaraju district of Andhra Pradesh. They travelled on tubes, holding their lives in their hands. To many, this may be a record achievement, but for them, it was a necessity as part of a mother's courageous effort to take her infant to the hospital. It's the reality of India. The other reality is this breathtaking video of a forest beat officer rescuing a massive king cobra in Kerala that's gone viral. The footage shared by retired forest officer Sushant Ananda shows the officer Roshni from the Paruthipalli range skillfully handling that enormous snake with a snake catching stick in that shallow stream, showcasing both her deft handling of snakes and her bravery in front of the venomous serpent. We leave you with those two images this evening on the Southern View. That's all we have time for. Thanks for watching. News and updates continue right here on NDTV.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
तू ही तो है जिसकी सच्चाई वाली क्लैरिटी की वजह से मैं आज यहाँ हूँ।
गोल्ड प्लस सिल्वॉक्सी मिरर्स, ऐसी क्लैरिटी कि आपको सिर्फ सच नजर आए, चाहे कितने भी साल बीत जाएं।
फिनेस्टा विंडोज, ब्यूटीफुल एंड ड्यूरेबल डिजाइन्स, इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
फाइनर फिनेस्टा। गोल्ड प्लस ऑप्टिमिस्टिक रिफ्लेक्टिव ग्लास लगाओ, धूप की गर्मी को दूर भगाओ और बिजली का बिल भी बचाओ।
फिनेस्टा विंडोज, ब्यूटीफुल एंड ड्यूरेबल डिजाइन्स, इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
फाइनर फिनेस्टा।
Some say sport is a matter of life and death. The truth is, it is far more serious than that. Sport is about ecstasy and agony, about pain and suffering, about joy and much more. Some say there's no one better to tell these stories. So here I am. Join me, Boria Majumdar, on India's #1 news network.
Pressure on the Indian Air Force to get fighters, forget about stealth aircraft. The Indian government has made it clear that we're going to bet on the AMCA, which is India's own fighter. But getting these 4.5 generation fighters like the Rafale, which you've already sunk an enormous amount of money into, even the Indian Navy has signed on for them recently, and there are still these delays. But with this announcement, Vishnu, and that's my next question now, I'm wondering whether this means that things are much clearer as far as the MRFA, or we still can't jump the gun on that. I know as far as Indian procurement is concerned, nothing is over until it's over, right? Nothing is over until it's over, especially when the Rafale is theoretically competing against American fighters like the F-15 Eagle II. Yeah. You've got Putin's Sukhoi 35s. You've got the Typhoon theoretically as well. So it ain't over until it's over, and I completely agree with you on that. But by putting out this partnership, and this is not an MOU, this is an agreement which I'm assuming is going to fructify into a joint venture.
2028
is when the first fuselages will roll out. Which again, I'm assuming means that, work begins now. 2028 is 2 years away. That's like more than just a foot in the door?
No, I would suggest that they are leading in this competition. All the Indian Air Force officers that we speak to, and they couch this language carefully. So I'm going to be responsible in how I report this. They say that they've had an exceptional experience with the Rafale. The Rafale is the aircraft of choice for them, but they
नए सांचे में ढलते।
आपको ये गाना याद है?
अरे काहे याद नहीं होगा, मम्मी का तो फेवरेट सीरियल था ये।
खूब फेवरेट। अच्छा, शुक्र मनाओ, उसी के कारण आज सबको साथ बैठ के खाने की आदत पड़ गई है।
सुना है क्योंकि वापस आ रहा है।
अपनी तुलसी वापस टीवी पर।
अरे उषा जी, तुलसी जी तो पहुंच गई नेता नगरी, अब थोड़े ही ना वापस आएंगी।
पर मानना पड़ेगा पापा, टीवी हो या टीवी के बाहर, जहाँ भी गई चालू।
ये बात सही बोली।
तुलसी जी टीवी पर आएंगी या नहीं आएंगी?
वो टाइम निकाल पाएगी?
हमें तो लगता है वो जरूर आएंगी।
नहीं भाई, वो नहीं आएंगी अब।
अरे आएंगी जी।
नहीं आएगी।
आएगी।
नहीं आएंगी।
आएंगी।
अरे नहीं आएंगी।
जरूर आऊंगी, क्योंकि हमारा 25 सालों का रिश्ता जो है, वक्त आ गया है आपसे फिर मिलने का।
I had a full introduction, a very poetic introduction for my next guest, but for 25 years, a quarter century, this is one person who has literally never needed an introduction. So, Tulsi ji, namaste. Smriti Irani is with us. 25 years later, though we've seen her very often since, what an incredible quarter century, but this is a return literally after 25 years. So welcome to NDTV. Thanks for being here,
Pleasure.
Tulsi, aka Smriti Irani, because for today, for a while now, we're going to treat you as Tulsi as well. But how does it feel to be back?
I think that for a 49-year-old to have, as you have very, very diligently and kindly espoused, to have a 25-year run, not only in media but also politics, that is a blessed run, because in our country's history, never has somebody managed to, with God's blessings, managed to be successful in both these very competitive fields. And more so if you're a woman.
Yeah.
To be at the top of the game continuously for 2.5 decades in media and politics is no mean feat, but that is also somewhere where destiny and luck has had a role to play.
3 weeks from now is when the show goes back on air. It's been a long wait. I'm going to get into the success of public life and acting in general in a moment. But 3 weeks is a very short time. You've been a star. You've been in the limelight for a long time. Are you nervous about this big return? Or are you like already vibing with it?
I'm a politician. Nothing that you throw at me will make me nervous ever. But I think that when people look at television today and how it was positioned 25 years ago, there's a huge difference. Most individuals that are associated with television do not get the respect that we deserve as an industry in terms of the revenues that we generate, in terms of the impact that we create. And I am in this counting even the NDTV family. For instance, if you look at the numbers last year, television itself generated a revenue up to 30,000 crores. OTT, which is now a very integral part of how stories are told in our country, generated close to 24,000 crores worth of revenue. To have a creative force get unleashed across both these platforms in terms of revenue means an impact that we will create in a 55,000 odd crore market. And I think that when the Prime Minister speaks about creative industries and how India can leverage its economic, socio-cultural potential in such a market, kyunki of course is a defining feature, and we are very proud that it is one such emblem of not only commercial success but also cultural impact.
No, you're being very self-effacing about kyunki, but you were a pioneer. Let's call facts today. I'd love to talk about the figures as well, and you've just put them out. But Ms. Irani, you were a pioneer. I have colleagues here calling you the OG TV star of an entire generation.
Well, you have a colleague here who has known me since 2003.
That's right. Neha from our guest team has known you for that long.
Yes.
And she's told me all those stories, which is why she's tracked your journey all this while.
Yes.
So, when you talk about those figures in the TV industry, 3 weeks from now, when the show goes back on air, 1,800 episodes over 8 years, calling you a household names feels like the most inadequate thing that's possible, because I know what it's actually been like. Confession, I actually saw you as a kid at an airport once, and I saw the crowd that was around you. So what does that feel like? I'm trying to explore the anticipation in your mind, because you're not a stranger to this.
I don't think that people understand, who have possibly witnessed me from afar, that I'm not being self-effacing about the whole situation. I'm mindful of the fact that I became a part of families. I became a part of individual lives. You have a memory of me from your childhood, as you say. That in itself is a great responsibility. And to oscillate between the real and the real world and still maintain that individual entity. Because you are a part of larger organizations. When you're a part of, let's say, both BJP, or you are part of a television network or a series, you are just one of a bigger, larger ecosystem. In that crowd, to still maintain your individual identity, to still create that individual impact, that I think humbles you. And you want to ensure that you're still relatable to people. That a kid who sees you at an airport, you must have seen many. But why does that one episode leave an imprint on your mind?
Because of the number of people.
More so, I think, because you've seen also my journey as a public figure. So there is a relatability. So as an individual, you'll always want to ensure that that relatability stays for that individual. And for that, it is very essential that you're mindful of that responsibility. That people should not feel that they're alienated. They should not feel that even if they disagree with some of your views, they would still want to hear your views. So the fact that you're a conversation starter, humility has to be at the center of it.
Speaking of conversation starter, by the way, while I was preparing for this interview, and frankly, I was looking at some of the things that fans were saying on Instagram, and an entire generation is going to be
looking at Smriti Irani's return to television. You know, people who weren't born when the show was on air are going to be relating to it all over again, and we'll get into that in a little bit as well. But I wanted to quote 3 things that stood out to me, and I wanted you to react to them. All from fans, by the way. I'm literally tearing up. I saw this like 1700 times on Instagram. The biggest comeback of Indian TV. Ab milega Anupama ko barabar ka takkar, and so many such things being said.
I think
does that add the pressure on you?
No, I've never been the kind to take pressure, and I think that you've seen, I've given you enough political evidence that I may give somebody pressure, but I don't take it. The issue is that, do you work for a larger purpose? And what is the larger purpose? The larger purpose is, can you get that due recognition for the hard work that goes towards a product? So we are in a newsroom right now. You're the face of that newsroom for this particular interview. But there's a camera person there. There are assistants, there are editors, there are others in HR, in admin, who ensure that this conversation is valued or added in terms of value. And I think this part of my journey is to bring focus to those people who are never in front of the camera, but who are the deciding factor as to the impact that we create. And I don't think that that is an issue that is going to be addressed by anybody who's a part either of this venture or who are responding to it. The idea is that I'm the first person from television who became a cabinet minister of information and broadcasting. I'm the first person from television who had the opportunity to become the first female education cabinet ranked minister. I'm the first person from television who went into the CCPA, which is known as the mini cabinet. It's the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. I'm the first person from my industry who went and became the textile cabinet ranked minister, first to become minority. So I am mindful of the kind of opportunity, the confluence of these 2 opportunities got me in my life. And for me then, what is my responsibility towards my own industry is that we are the last rung of how we are valued in the entertainment chain. Movies get the biggest amount of, I think, eyeballs, respect or fascination. OTT stars now have their own sensibilities which are being celebrated across. Television still gets a little bit of the stepmotherly treatment. How can I bring it the respect that it truly deserves? Because this is not an easy job. We have to be working straight for 12 hours a day. This is not a job that gives you a longevity of career. You have to prove your talent every day. And this is a field which employs close to 2.5 million people in our country. These facets of our industry have never been spoken of. So who can bring forth these facets that need to be